If you get that.
Meanwhile, listen, firmly in control of their 1-8 series, unlike your sons, is the Miami Heat and Jimmy Butler, who brought back Big Face Coffee Bubble Jimmy Butler last night. That series, so Trae Young, did he make one shot from the field in the first game? And then
1-3?
Was it 1-3? Okay. He's not
so
shooting
far,
well.
he's 2 for 17 from 3.
2 for 17 from 3.
From
And how many turnovers last night? What, 10? Was it 10 turnovers last night, I want to say it was? Something crazy. But bottom line is, they're neutralizing Trae Young. Meanwhile, Jimmy Butler is back to being a guy who, and the bubble seems like so long ago, but that performance in the bubble, and now he's added threes to that arsenal. I don't think he was taking threes before. That performance in the bubble had him, for me at least, in that top 10 conversation. And when you're talking about, and here we go inventing categories for NBA players, we're talking about like guys who you want on your side in a street fight. Top of the list is Jimmy Butler. I have made the mistake in the Eastern Conference of looking at the East like you look at the West, where at the end of the day it's going to be Milwaukee. It's just a matter of how we get there. There are two teams that give me pause. One is Boston, and the other one is Miami, because of that guy. Mainly because of that guy.
First of all,
love Duncan Robinson, love Tyler Hero, but that guy gives me pause about.
Look at his bicep. Look at that bicep. Okay, that's not Photoshop. That's not Photoshop.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's like he got a suit on and he put on a boulder under the suit. And it's like a pretend, like, you know, your kids when your kids were younger.
Like a superhero.
And
like a superhero.
They dress up for Halloween, had those like muscles.
Look,
those muscle suits.
He went in the phone booth last night. That's for damn sure.
Brother.
I think the first guy with 40 points and no turnovers since Dominique Wilkins or something crazy. I think Stat News tweeted out something crazy. Yeah.
With that stat line. And I would say that Eric Spoelstra, see, Miami's just so intriguing. This is so interesting. What an interesting franchise. Even when they're not championship material, and they are this year, they are. But even when they're not, there's just always there's something magical, mystical about the Miami Heat. And I think Pat Riley has a lot to do with it. He's sitting there quoting poets and generals, and he's got like, he's a little crazy. And so his aura has something to do with it, but also Spoelstra. Spoelstra I think the reason he's a finalist for Coach of the Year, number one, that they finished tops in the East. But I can't think of a coach who really understands his personnel on the court and personally more than Eric Spoelstra. Like, if you listen to him talk about his players, he just understands at the deepest level of what they're capable of beyond the numbers. So I don't know if you heard his comments about Jimmy Butler yesterday. He was talking about Jimmy Butler. He was like, yeah. The numbers say he's not really a three-point shooter. But do you really want to leave him open from three in a critical situation? He said, it's like D-Wade. He'll kill you. And like D-Wade wasn't a great three-point shooter. And Jimmy Butler this year, I think, shooting 23% from three.
Yeah.
But when it matters, and you can call it an inventing a category or not, when it matters, Jimmy Butler is going to make that shot. Jimmy Butler is going to do something to make his team win that game. 45 points and no turnovers and no fouls.
And no fouls. You know who the Heat kind of remind me of? I'm going to keep crossing the streams here, crossing the conferences. They remind me in one regard in particular of the Warriors. So when I was arguing with you yesterday about the Warriors, and I was like, yo, man, I get that Phoenix was 11 games better than Golden State, and what were they, 8 or 9 games, whatever, ahead of the next best team in the league. But we never really saw what Golden State was fully capable of because of, Clay didn't play all year and was reintegrated into the roster. Draymond was hurt for a big chunk of the year. Steph was in a slump and then hurt. So it's like rounding into form in the first round. Likewise, Miami kind of felt like how a team with Jimmy Butler that went to the finals 2 years ago with Eric Spoelstra, how a number one seed can fly below the radar. I wouldn't say they flew below the radar. I would say that in comparison to the defending champion, and rightfully so, Milwaukee Bucks, and what they did this regular season, what Giannis in particular did this regular season, despite the absence of Brook Lopez. Philadelphia adding a James Harden, and obviously they dominated the headlines this year. Boston and how dominant Boston was in the second half of the season. But then meanwhile, Miami, probably the most we talked about, at least we're guilty, I'll say us, we're guilty of it. Most we talked about Miami post All-Star break was when they were fighting one another on the bench. And they did have some struggles. They did look bad at times. But they had so many people in and out of the lineup this year due to injuries and other reasons where, and they have flaws. Their half-court offense wasn't great. But if Bam Adebayo doesn't miss as much of the season as he did, he might be your defensive player of the year, right? So I just feel like we made the same mistake. I'll own it.
Yeah,
made the same mistake that I often do when it comes to Miami. It's just like they kind of bore you to death, and they were the number one seed by default. They didn't win 60 games this year. They were the number one seed because the other teams really didn't play hard enough or didn't really want it. Milwaukee wasn't worried about the regular season. Philadelphia struggled and didn't seize it. So it was like, okay, somebody got to be number one, and Miami ends up number one. But are they really number one? Maybe they are.
They are. They really are. And, they got all these things that we only appreciate, and look, can't help it. I'm not gonna say it's human nature.
Brooklyn got more love than them coming into the playoffs than Miami did, wouldn't you say?
It's basketball fans' nature. It's the nature of a basketball fan to only appreciate the things that Miami has in the playoffs when your team is active and your team is winning. Now, if they were down zip 2 to Atlanta, we turn it around, and all the things that we're praising them for, we say, see, you can't win like that. They need another star. They ain't got enough. They need to shoot three-pointers better. And they're just too defensive-oriented. They got to really adapt to the modern game, on and on. But what they have now, they got a great coach, great strategist, who is not going to lose any matchup. He will not lose any coaching matchup throughout the playoffs. You know that. Now, Eric Spoelstra, at the very least, he's going to be equal to your guy, if not better. That's one. They got a great star in Jimmy Butler. They got a champion.
They got two stars.
Little dude who you don't want to fight. That's Kyle Lowry. He's that little dude. I don't want to fight him.
I would classify Bam as a star too. I classify Bam as a star.
Bam is too. Yes.
Yeah.
And then they got a guy off the bench.
Tyler Hero's a star.
Tyler Hero, right?
I would call it. They got the star power.
So watch out for that.
Much of anything.
I have already.
I know. And
listen,
that's not even like a bad. That's not even like watch out for the number one seed. But no, it kind of feels like that. It's like, hey, don't sleep on the top seed in the Eastern Conference because you're so focused on the Sixers dominance of Toronto and
You crossed the waters earlier. You're talking about the Warriors and Miami. I'm gonna cross sports. The Miami Heat are Aiden Hutchinson. They are like, hey, number one guy. But we're not really. Yeah, man, this guy is the number one pick. Yeah, okay. Yeah, he's number one.
I'm trying not to get too across the board. I'm trying not to get too carried away because we have these series which are seasons unto themselves. So the ebbs and flow of the series is real easy to kind of just be like, oh, they're the best team ever because they won 2 games at home, or oh, they're the new favorites because they just, somebody got hurt. It's like every season is this. Right, but I just mean it's like, but granted, and Atlanta's the 8th seed for a reason, and it could be a matchup. Next series, I know you're gonna pick Miami against Philadelphia. I'm gonna be conflicted.
Wow.
I'm gonna be conflicted. Both of those.
James Harden. You think I'm so anti-James Harden that I won't even look at the facts of a matchup, and I'll just automatically pick against James Harden?
When it comes to the NBA playoffs, I think you despise James Harden more than you love the Phoenix Suns. You know how people say, "Oh, I hate to win more than I love to lose." I think you would rather see Harden lose than Phoenix win.
Hey, thanks for watching Brother from Another on YouTube. Make sure you hit subscribe before you leave, and be sure to watch us
3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Peacock. Appreciate you.